Recently, I made a visit to Murfield Miniatures, which, if you don't know, is an incredible second-hand Warhammer store that sells pre-owned, pre-loved minis at a discounted rate. And let me tell you something, I got an absolute steal. I got 10 Chaos Space Marine Raptors for £10. That is £1 a mini. Incredible. But there is a catch. These boys are an absolute state. Like, they're covered in old paint. They've got pieces missing. Some of these boys are just horror shows. But I thought for £1 a mini, it'd be really fun if we buy them and then see if we can salvage them, save them, and kit bash them into presentable playable minis, which is what we're going to try and do today. And here are our £1 Chaos Space Marine Raptors. And yeah, like I said, some of these boys are an absolute state. So this guy is missing like a hand. You can see he's got like, well, he's got an arm. He's just missing a hand. This one's got a hand, but like the sword's been cut off the top. This is the guy I think you saw in the intro that's just, I don't even know what that is. Oh my God. So yeah, there's varying degrees of issues with these guys, but I figured for £1 a model, it's, how can you say no to that, man? Like, they did also come with a whole lot of extras. So if I move all the minis out of the way, you can see down here, we've got like a spare backpack. We've got a whole bunch of arms that we can like save and use and whatnot. So I thought, like I said, for £1 a mini, I can just hack off this arm. In fact, yeah, like this dude has got like missing an arm completely. So I figured we could probably even just like get some pliers, clip that whole arm off and try and like glue a new arm onto him, because even if we mess it up and like destroy the mini, it was £1, like who cares really. Yeah, like look at that, perfect, there we go. So already a success 2 minutes into the video. So yeah, for an arm like that we can just rip that off, and then what's he got, a pistol, so there's like an arm here we could just really probably re-glue on. Yeah, look at that, perfect. And I've got a whole bunch of spare like shoulder pads and arms lying around as well from like Legionaries and Red Corsair Raiders, so we can definitely make something of these boys. Oh, I'm already feeling optimistic after how easy that was. So before we get into the kit bashing though, the first thing we need to do is try and clean these boys up because they are a state. So I did start actually already. This guy's had a round of Isopropyl Alcohol, but there's all this white gunk all over him, which I don't know what it actually is. But I'm going to grab a knife and some sandpaper and try and hack away at that. But the first thing we need to do with all these guys is dunk them all into a pot of isopropyl, let them soak for, normally you leave them for like half an hour or so, but these guys are probably going to need a good chunk of time. Luckily, a little behind the scenes, it's Monday morning, so I've got a full work day ahead of me, so I can leave these guys to soak for like 8 hours. So that's what we're going to do now, just chuck them into soak, and then I guess with the magic of YouTube, we can cut to cleaning and brushing them off. Nothing of it, none of this is coming off. Uh-oh. I don't actually know what all this white grimy stuff actually is. I don't know if it's glue or a paint, because yeah, back on this actually, yeah, if we zoom in, yeah, so the back of this leg here, it seems like this is actually just falling off, because this looks like paint. So if we scrub at it enough, yeah, there we go, look at that, like that thigh is all kind of getting clean and tidy. It's just this thick white stuff here. I'm not even sure what it is. Right, and here we are. They've all gone under a few separate rounds of isopropyl and scrubbing, and we've got some pretty decent looking Marines and also some absolutely horrendous boys over here. Like these three, I just could not clean off no matter what. They've gone under so many different layers of scrubs. I've brushed them, like I've been trying to like rip them off with like a brush. I don't know what is going on with them. So my plan with these is just to leave them for now. Like we mentioned, these models were only £1 each. I wasn't expecting to get 10 pristine Marines. I was kind of expecting just to scrub them a little bit, spray them, and make them look half decent. I wasn't aiming for perfection. But my plan with these three dudes is let's leave them to one side and then upload this video and hope that somebody in the comments can tell me, yeah, what's on this dude is just XYZ, and to get rid of it, you just have to buy this product or do this. So please, someone in the comments help me out so I can get a full squad of 10. But I'm just going to leave these guys to one side and then forget about them and hope that one of you guys can help me. But the next thing to do is just pair these guys up with what they're missing. So as you can see, I've kind of like gone through the bits that were included with the Raptors, lined them up with what's missing what. But this guy's missing like the head of a sword. He's got a hand, he's got a stub, but he's not actually got the blade. So what I've got here, this was a chainsaw that was included. It was just a hand and the sword. So what I was thinking that we could do, we can get a pair of clippers, just kind of chop it off just above the hand. Just going to sand it down a little bit as well so it's nice and flat, so hopefully it should connect onto what we've got quite easily. Put a little bit of glue on the top, glue on the hand, and then hopefully these should connect, please. Is it going to be that easy? Oh, it is, yeah, okay. Okay, you're going to have to trust me, they feel like they're connected and they're quite smooth. So I'm just going to hold these here for the next hour until they dry. Yeah, and then this guy was similar, so this one we're going to cut off a hand and see if we can stick that on a wrist. I've just stolen a, this is actually a Loyalist Space Wolf chainsword. I thought I could put this on the Raptor just to be like, a little bit of a story, to be like, oh, he's stolen it off of a body that he's killed. Because yeah, it kind of fits alright actually, just in like that, kind of in that little slot there. To be fair, this is a lot smoother, this wrist. It's just like a flat circle, so I'm hoping they can kind of hold it in place and be a little bit more secure. Because that last dude, I had to lie down because it was just two pieces of plastic really delicately laying on each other. Oh, that's perfect, that. Yeah, okay, yeah. I should have started with this. This would have made the video a lot better. Okay, there we go. That is, oh my god. Wow, that is almost perfect. Okay, I'm really happy with that. Let's leave that to one side to dry. He's still obviously missing an arm. Tell you what, we'll do it now. So that way it can all dry together because like we've established, I am very impatient. So just have a bit there. Then this gun can just go on the side. I'll let this set a little bit, and then once it's connected, I'll leave it to one side to dry, and then we can just carry on doing this, just hacking away at various arms and hands and trying to reassemble a squad of Chaos Space Marine Raptors. Right, are we ready to see the boys all primed up? Look at these. I am so impressed by how well some of them have come out, especially considering the absolute state they were started off in. Oh my god, yeah. So I feel like there was two separate issues, right? There were some of these boys just needed a whole new arm, which was this guy, this one who I've also forgotten to put a shoulder pad on, but that's fine because he also still needs a little bit of prime. But yeah, the dudes that basically just needed a new arm, they were easy to be fair. Just clipping it off, gluing on a new arm, absolutely fine, no issue. These guys look brand spanking new. Oh my god, I'm so impressed. And then there were the set of people that had like hands, wrists, and swords that needed like shimmying on. Oh, so what's this dude was one of them? Yeah, look at that. They look pretty okay. Like obviously if you get real close and really look at it and digest it and try and like look at the minute details really up close, then yeah, it's a bit messy, but I think just for like playing on a tabletop, it was kind of okay. Like I am going to touch on it in a second, but if you just put them on a table 6 feet away and we're like, yeah, these are Raptors, move them around, absolutely fine and like passable. So I guess now it's time to get to the actual fun part and paint some of these boys up. So I'm just going to cover them in some Khorne Red and then some Evil Sunz Scarlett because they are going to be Red Corsairs, unsurprisingly. That is my Chaos Army of choice, that is my faction I'm going with. Plus I do quite like the idea of these red terrors descending upon the skies. So we're just going to build up some layers of Khorne Red and then yeah, Evil Sunz over the top with the sponge to make some nice sort of like gradients. That way it leaves the black primer underneath for some like nice dark recess shading. So we get yeah, these nice bright Evil Sun highlights on top and then also some dark black recess shading that we end up tinting all over with some Flesh Tearers Red at the end. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to touch on, I guess, like, I feel like when I was doing these, thinking about them and cleaning them, I was like, I feel like minis and Warhammer models specifically fall into two categories, right? You're either buying them because they're like display pieces. They're like things you think, okay, these look really cool to paint. They look really nice on the shelf, so I want to buy it. I want to experience the painting, and I think it'll look really cool to display. And then there's also like gamer pieces essentially where you're like, I just need this on the tabletop because it is it represents a raptor in game which moves X amount and has these abilities and I want to use it on the tabletop. And then obviously the best minis kind of like meet in the middle, right? Like the Huron Blackhearts are like the MVPs that are like, this is the best looking mini I've ever seen and it's also killer in game and I want to play it on the tabletop. And I definitely feel like these Raptors, as much as they were a fun, cool projects to fix, now that I'm kind of painting them up, I've glued things on, I've primed them, and I'm thinking about the fact that they're going to be on a table like 6 feet away from my opponent, I do definitely think they're falling more into like the gamer piece category for me. Just a cool model to have on the tabletop. I'm not 100%. Obviously, I'm enjoying the painting, and it's a cool, unique mini, but I do think for me, it's definitely going to fall more into the game piece category. So I'm just trying to think where I want to put the reds and the blacks. Yeah, it's definitely falling more into that game piece category. So I'm not too bothered about getting like the most finite detail in terms of like cleaning it and tidying it. This is definitely something that I want to like just put on the tabletop and have in my army. And I definitely think there's nothing wrong with that. Like having minis where you're like, yeah, this guy is kind of cool and I am going to enjoy painting it, but the main focus is I kind of just want it in my army. I guess it's about identifying which minis you want for what, right? You know, where you want, okay, I want this to be a game piece. I'm not really too bothered, but, or you're like, oh no, this thing I really care about. Like I really, really want this thing to look good. Right, so these are some interesting, funny little models. So we've just put on all of the red armor panels, sponged up some Khorne, Evil Sunz, and Flesh Tearers like you saw, and then we've done all of the trim, which is silver with some black Templar over the top. I've actually been using, I mentioned it last week, Surcoat's silver from Two Thin Coats instead of Lead Belcher. It's the same as Lead Belcher, so if you're sticking with Citadel, that's the same equivalent. But it's just a real nice like consistency. I've been having real trouble with the consistency of Lead Belcher recently. So I just switched over to that and it's quite nice. But yeah, put down a silver and then a black Templar contrast over the trim. And it's good. I like it. I like the nice mix of sort of a black, heavy metallic look. But something about these minis, I'm just like, something's not sitting right with me. You know, I'm looking at them and I'm just like, ugh, they're okay. They're not great. And I've been trying to like work out what it is, and why I feel this way. And I think I know. I think I know what it is. I think there's just like too much trim on them. I feel like the mini itself is just like it's just 90% trim, and I feel like with the big black dark heavy trim, it kind of eclipses the red armor, so it just feels like a big blodge of like black and silver. Like especially on this dude where I've done like the chest and the thighs as black. I'm just a bit like eh. I guess actually this guy as well, I don't know. It's just, yeah, it feels like there's a lot of just black and silver and not a lot of red. And also, I think the red I've put on isn't as vibrant and popping. So that's kind of faded into it. I don't know. But they're looking okay, it's whatever. Although, like, I say that, almost to echo my point, I feel like I've done 90% of the model. Like, the armor and the trim is, like, everything. There's hardly any details on these guys. I just need to fill in some more silver, like on these backpacks. The bottom exhaust needs to be silver, so I'll just do that quickly. There's like spikes on them, like on their legs down there. There's some like horns and stuff. That'll be Zandri Dust, Agrax, and Ushabti Bone. And then it's just the weapons, to be fair, which will be silver and Rattling Grime. And here are 6 of our 10 Chaos Space Marine Raptors, and they're looking really good, you know? Considering the absolute state we found them in, I think they're looking presentable. They're definitely not the best minis I've done, because some of these parts are proper hacked on, and some of them are a little bit old and mangled. But considering they were £1 each, and the way they looked when we first bought them, wow, they were an absolute state. So, just to quickly go over some of the highlights, this dude here with the blue, like, feather on the back of the sword. It's looking alright. That whole sword is a new arm from the Legionary kit, and I think it suits him quite well and is nice and clean and presentable. Moving to the left though, what's not clean and presentable is this dude here. Oh my god. So that hand came with the Raptor, and the sword hilt underneath, but the blade on top did not. Like, I don't know if you can see, but like this blade here is glued onto the hand. I just like sand filed it down and just boom, chucks it on. But to be fair, it's looking okay. It's only when you get up close and personal you can see like the gritty grime and the big splodge of like ink that I've kind of, not ink, sorry, glue that's holding them together. Like, I think it fits the vibe of the whole model. It looks like presentable. It's just a little bit mangled and kind of funny. And then moving on to this dude around here as well. This hand was probably the only other like real standout piece that required a bit of work. This gun and hand was separate. I found it on like a Legionary kit. He just had the wrist poking out of a stump, so I did something similar. I sanded it down, but then like there was like an indent and the hand was flat, so I kind of filled it with Miller putt and like stuck it together. And it's looking okay. It's a little bit mangled on the wrist and the meat, but we've covered it with some paint, and I think it looks presentable, acceptable. I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, it looks great. Oh my god, I've mastered molding and creating my own stuff. No, it's not. It's far from that. But as game pieces on the board from like a distance, it's presentable and it's fine. I think it's kind of okay. Yeah, overall, super happy with them. Like I mentioned with the paint job, I'm not a massive fan of the Raptors and the paint job on it. I don't know if it's the red or too much trim or my paint scheme. The blue for the eyes and the teeth, the Zandri Dust, like not teeth. The blue for the eyes and the Zandri Dust, like horns, they've definitely helped. But I do think overall, these aren't my favourite models I've ever painted. I'm not a massive fan of them. They're okay. And here they are on my desk, just surrounded by some of my other Red Corsairs, just to see what they would look like from like across the table. Like if you were playing a game of Warhammer against me, and I was like, here are my 5 Red Corsair Raptors, you'd be like, yeah, they look fine, they look normal. You wouldn't know the horrors that are like up close and personal with like the gammy hand that's been Miller putted on, or like some of these like swords that don't belong with the kits. Yeah, like if you're across the table and I was like, yeah, here are my Raptors, you'd be like, yeah, they look kind of cool, don't they? There we go, some Warhammer minis for £1 that ended up actually presentable and playable. Playable definitely being the key word here. They're definitely not incredible works of art, but I do find it quite fun buying something cheap that's like would have been put in the bin otherwise and been like, no, let's see if we can salvage this, tidy them up a little bit, glue some extra bits on and kind of make something of it. It is a fun project to do. I've only done it twice now. I did it with some Chaos Bikers. They weren't as bad, they were just a clean and that was it. There was no like breaking off half arms, Miller putting wrists together. This was a bit much and it was a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. And it was kind of rewarding, it was fun. But it's definitely something I don't think I'd be doing all the time. I think I'd get a bit burnt out if I had to like, every kit I brought was like, oh, it's half price, but you've got to put in twice the work. There's definitely like room for that. And there's definitely times that I'm just going to be like, here's 30 quid, give me a squad of 5 clean Raptors. But as always, thank you for watching. And if you want to support the channel a little bit more, there is a link in the description for a Patreon. You get various perks like behind the scenes little pictures of works in progress, and also your name in the credits like these lovely people. So thank you for supporting the channel. You helped me buy things like £1 Raptors. That's why I bought. I was like, what did I buy for this video? I brought the Raptors. Yeah, no paints, just them. But as always, thank you for watching. Drop a like and subscribe and tune in next time. Bye.